My name is Asya Metodieva. I am a Ph.D. candidate at Central European University, and my research deals with recruitment into jihadist movements from the Western Balkans to Syria and Iraq. I specifically looked at the mobilization process between 2012 and 2016, concerning the question of foreign fighters, and mostly the leadership, or let's say the radical influencers behind this process. When it comes to drivers, I would say that what I've been trying to do in my research is to shift the conversation from recruits or those who radicalize to those who radicalize, or recruiters. I consider this important because these factors that we are trying to separate or distinguish between are often in a combination. And when it comes to research, it's hard to distinguish between each of them. This conversation about the factors becomes very complicated when it comes to fieldwork and research. In this sense, I believe that the talk about who is behind this process and whether we have available inspiration figures on the ground matters much more. The role of radical influencers is let's say, incentivized by the external environment. And if I have to summarize, I would say radical influencers plus context. If we take social media and let's say the idea that people can socialize online plays a very significant role, especially in the part of propaganda, exchanging messages, coordination, inspiration. All these processes, they are already happening online. Certainly the mainstreaming of the let's say religious narratives helps to these people to receive some sort of access to wider networks, some parts of which might actually have the incentive to radicalize or to push more ideologically driven ideas rather than religious ones. Definitely. The thing is that we still don't know what exactly is going on like individual level. When it comes to COVID, I think that we are still guessing what will be the impact of COVID on consolidation and mobilization process of radical movements. My hint is that, as I said, we are going to talk about completely different communication strategies. I think that the behavior of these communities and these groups is going to change and shift entirely to online, which means that security agencies should pay more attention or invest in capacity building and their ability to let's say track these sorts of behavior. So the concern is that there might be a gap between a desire to reintegrate those citizens returning from the war zone and providing them with a long-term perspective and let's say reintegration in the local societies. Talking about de-radicalization or reintegration policies of jihadist foreign fighters in the West, I would say that the main issue is the lack of political will. Compared to this, politicians in the Western Balkans did rather a good job. So I can definitely praise the political will that was present in 2019 and 2020. But when it comes to strategic behavior, it is hard to imagine that small countries of the Western Balkans will have the capacity to, let's say, reintegrate the returning foreign fighters and their families in the long term. I think that the real work when it comes to, let's say, knowing the people and trying to help them on the ground can be really facilitated through involving local stakeholders. 2020 and the years to come are years in which we're going to have a much higher number of people with terrorism related sentences, and they're going to be released and they're going to be out of prison very soon. So the question is, did we really do a good job in terms of prevention and de-radicalization programs in the prisons? Because what studies, recent studies show is that these networks and the ideological proliferation finds a very fertile ground in those places, and I would be really, let's say, happy if in the next years we manage to give more answers to these questions, and these answers are in favor of successful prevention and de-radicalization.